Thanks, man.
Back track wide, it's distance there as well. Very slowly, in fact, almost causing an accident there. Car stopped in. No, in fact, we've got synchronised spinning. Driving there from everyone to make sure that we get through. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast presenting the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series live from Mount Panorama. Thanks to AJ Insurance Services, our streaming partner, for jumping on board. This one tonight is going to be an absolute whopper. Simrigs.com, thank you. Bridgestone Select, Fountain Gate, Cranbourne and Rowville, along with A-Shape Plant Repairs and 93 PC, the sim computer experts if you're wanting to get involved in iRacing. And yeah, we're here tonight, Mount Panorama, for 2 races. I'm joined tonight by Carl Withy, joining us for the first time on the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series commentary team. Carl, very experienced in the world of oval track racing, and jumping on the stream tonight to give me a hand while Scotty has a week off. So Carl, thanks for jumping on the stream.
Not a problem, Stuart. It's good to be here. Starting out in more of the road racing circuit. GT3 is something that's not alien to me, thankfully, so a little bit of knowledge in that respect, but I am much more used to calling races where there's a lot more left turns than rights.
Absolutely. And you said today in preparation jumped into the car that's on screen now, the BMW, and took it for a run around Mount Panorama. How did you find it?
Yeah, it is quite tricky for the first couple of laps, especially in the BMW there, the M6 prototype. It gets very dicey as you go up through the cutting on those cold tyres. Those first couple of laps are going to be crucial for the BMW drivers tonight. It is very tricky up there. The rear does get very loose, especially as you go through that first little kink before you get to the really tight left-hander, before you get to Quarry Corner up to Reed Park. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for. Very fast down the straight, of course, that BMW, big, powerful car, of course, but does tend to struggle through some of those tighter corners, and especially in the deep braking zones. Going to have to watch out for Murray's Corner and the Chase, of course.
Perfect segue for us to just jump into our race overview. We'll have a look at track conditions and that as we do get into qualifying, just at the tail end here of practice. But tonight it is round 3 of the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series. In fact, the final of our sprint rounds before we do head to the endurance run next week in the Pacific leg of this 3-leg championship that covers the globe. So tonight there we've got race 1, a 20-minute sprint race, followed by race 2, a 40-minute feature race, which does have a reverse top 15 from the finish of race 1. That spiced things up a little bit last week for us. And the key points for the race tonight: drivers will need to pit in both races, potentially twice in race 2 depending on fuel management, and we'll see them pit towards the latter part of the 20 minutes in race 1. Expected lap time here around a 2:05 in these cars, and the places to watch, particularly on lap 1, Hell Corner, the cutting and Forest Elbow. So Hell Corner being turn 1, the cutting turn 4, and Forest Elbow, of course, at the end of the run towards the run down Conrad Straight, I should say. So get yourself familiar with those if you aren't. Currently, the Pro Series leader, Luke Turner, and Jeff Connell, the amateur leader at the moment. And Jeff with a solid performance last week, likewise for Luke. And that's the rundown, thanks to 93 PC, for what we're looking at in this week's event.
Yeah, that race over in Germany, of course, for Hockenheim. Very interesting race there. Getting to see those GT cars out on that new track was very fun to see. It's a very different challenge here at the mountain, though. Mount Panorama, of course, Bathurst, a very famous track all around the world. It's one of the few tracks I knew about even before I moved to Australia. We knew about Melbourne, Adelaide, and of course Bathurst, and it was a track that I have always wanted to go to properly and have a bit of a drive around. But I'm very happy to be calling it tonight, especially for GT cars. They are something else, especially across the top of the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a couple of the fast returners as well this evening. Andre Gartner back this evening. We've got Ross Rizzo jumping back in the car as well. So it's going to be pretty tight up the front of the grid here as we're just about to head into open qualifying. So we do run open qualifying here on the Aus Pro-Am Sim series. So everyone will be out on track at the same time. So look out for carnage. And as we always do here on FGM eCast, we're going to try and jump on with the driver that gets out of the gates quickest. I'll have just a wait to see who that might be. It looks like it is going to be Ross Rizzo. We're already on board with him there. He's a little bit further down the field, but he was the first into the sim. So we will join him for the warm-up lap here around Mount Panorama. And you can see the train of cars jumping out and getting into their opening lap.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial getting track position here. You don't want to get caught up behind somebody that's going to be a bit slower across the top of the mountain, up through McPhillamy Park skyline, through the Dipper, and as you said, into Forest Elbow. Real crucial parts of the track as you get up there. Obviously, being behind somebody's not too bad as you go down Conrod Straight, a big long straight, and up Mountain Straight as well. You will get a little bit of a draft coming into effect there, that little bit of slipstreaming effect. But you do lose a little bit of downforce going through those tight, twisty corners and those high-speed corners as well. So it can be a blessing and a curse sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, it can be. So it's just a matter of trying to pick your space. And we found last week, sorry about that, obviously at Hockenheim, that was a pretty challenging affair in terms of trying to get through and get a gap on the field. I'm just going to quickly bring up the track info at the moment. So looking at a temperature of 27 degrees, and so that one not too hot indeed. Hot weather here during the peak periods, up into the mid 40s track temp wise. So pretty kind on the drivers. 6.14 kilometre track length here at Mount Panorama. And it is a very track state condition, so we can't tell you too much about that yet, other than that it'll rubber up pretty quickly with the volume of cars on the track.
Yeah, that's it. As it goes through, it's going to get a little bit quicker, of course, as those tyres warm up as well. Getting the first lap is going to be crucial for a lot of these drivers, and just getting a good clean lap as well is what you're going to be looking for here as we do approach Hell's Corner here as we come down the start-finish straight. Very, very hard left-hander. It is a corner where it is so easy to make a mistake and run a bit wide. Then you go up the mountain straight here. Very fast section of the corner up to Griffiths. You've got this big sort of hump in the middle of the track here, so it's almost a blind hump you go across, and if you have somebody spin in front of you there, it can cause a lot of trouble. So you probably saw just in the background there was a bit of a spin going into pits, just a pit exit. So coming through Griffiths Bend, very fast right-hander up to the left-handers of the cutting. There's this little kink here, so easy to make a mistake. If you run wide, you go onto those marbles and you will hit the outside wall. Good job here going through there. Second part of the cutting up into Quarry Corner and now into Reed Park. So right-hander into a left-hander. Again, very easy to make a mistake. If you run slightly wide, you're going to go onto the grass, can go into the wall as well, because it is so tight across the top here. Those concrete barriers are so unforgiving as we come up to Skyline for the first time. And the S's, of course, the dip here as well. You're going downhill, braking so crucial, so easy to snag a brake, even with ABS. You can make mistakes here. Now down to Forest Elbow. Very, very tight left-hander as you go through the curvy bits. Crucial to get this corner correct because you're going on to Conrod Straight. You need to get the exit just right. You're going to get that speed down Conrod, and that's what you really want going down towards the chase.
Yeah, we've seen so many drivers over the years get it wrong there and come out and clout the wall and just affect their run. Well, certainly affect their run if they clout the wall, but affect the run down the straight here. A lot of the guys getting the advantage of the toe as they come down into the chase here, breaking it around that 150 board, trying to get the car turned in and make their way through the chase. to bring this lap to a conclusion. We haven't spoken about the overall time here, only 8 minutes on the board, so this banker lap, very, very important. Not wanting to run it wide through the last corner, easy enough to do. And we've got there Ross Rizzo getting across the start-finish line with a clean lap and going straight up to the top of the timing charts with a 2:03.63. Good lap, Ross. Thanks for the ride.
Yeah, good result there. And as you say, it's important to get this banker lap because you don't really get you're not going to get too many second chances. I think Ross Rizzo just jumped into pit lane there and is coming back out on fresh tyres once more. Going to go through that warming stage again a little bit and then try and get that fast lap. A few drivers staying out there, of course. Using those nice... Sorry. Just using the warmth kept in the tyres from that first lap, of course, but you do use up a little bit of their life too.
I was just going to say it's a good time to jump in because he's going to get one more warm-up lap in and be able to have one last crack at it if he needs to, with possibly a little less traffic there. Of course, he would have got the advantage of the tow down Conrod Straight when he was putting in that banker lap, and he may not get that second time around. So don't be too surprised if we don't see Rizzo go faster than that on his next flying lap out. Also noting that there already is a fairly hefty build-up of marbles off the racing line, even this early into qualifying.
Yeah, it's definitely something you see here at Mount Panorama. It's a bit punishing on the tyres here, and these big heavy GT3 cars, you know, they've got a lot of power, a lot of grip on them, but that does mean the tyres tend to get a good workout as well, and that can really punish them, especially through those fast corners, and you get those marbles just hanging on the outside, and that becomes perilous as you're going around this lap.
We're just on board here with Andre Gardner just to see what he does. Unfortunately, it looks like he must have got a penalty there, that lap not counting, so he will have to make this one count. Otherwise, he's going to be trying to do it on three-lap old tyres and suffer the disadvantage there. Jeff Connell, he's put in a cracking lap, a 2:03.91, so currently the lead amateur driver up in 5th position.
Yeah, good job there. Luke Turner just getting a great lap through with a 2:03.624 there, just taking the top spot for the moment. Ross Rizzo coming across the line now to start his next flying lap, of course, so he's going to try and take this one out. Of course, the other thing is taking fuel loads into concern. You know, when you go out on qualifying laps, you want as least fuel as possible. The longer you stay out there means you've taken more fuel on board and a little bit of a heavier car as well. There's so many little things that come into play like that.
The at Race Admin did get parity right last week. We had a mixed top 3 at the end of it. At the moment, it is BMW 1, 2, 3 and Maverick Benson doing an extraordinary job in the Ferrari as well as the leading Ferrari. I shouldn't say extraordinary job. He's done a cracking lap. The Ferrari's not too bad these days. They've tuned it up a bit. And Jeff Connell lead Mercedes in 5th.
Yeah, that's it. The difference in cars, of course, does make a difference across the track. You're going to see strengths and weaknesses as they go across. The BMW is going to be mighty down the straights, I think, tonight. That's going to be one of the biggest spots for it. May struggle a little bit across the top of the mountain. You've got the Mercedes, of course, that big normally aspirated engine as well. That's something to watch out for. If it gets a tow, those things can be absolutely flying. And then the very, very nimble Ferrari, good all-rounder, of course, and might not have the top speed in some respects, but it is very fast still. Those cars are just beautifully balanced and really can make a difference across the lap. So it's all about keeping the precision on these laps and just keeping that metronomic lap times coming in.
As Gartner goes 6th with a 2:03.98, so he's got that banker lap in, and he will, I imagine, go around once again to see if he can improve on that. Ross Rizzo has pulled out of his flying lap, so that will do him for qualifying, currently sitting provisionally in 2nd. Luke Turner, our provisional pole sitter at the moment.
Yeah, it's looking good at the moment. The BMWs are looking quick there, of course, but as you said, with the balance of performance coming into effect, little tweaks and things like that, of course, different weights and things like that in these cars, it does make a bit of a difference. And you might just see the beginning, the early pace for some of these cars is a little bit better, and as the run goes on, they might start to get affected a little bit differently. Those are always little things you've got to watch out for as well. Sometimes you have that very quick one-lap pace, but that doesn't necessarily carry over for a full stint.
And I need to retract what I said before. It looks like Ross Rizzo just dropped out a little bit on that lap. He actually did end up completing it, and he's done a 2:03.53 to go quickest at this point in time. So great lap from Ross Rizzo.
Yeah, very quick out there tonight, and just watching some of the laps from these guys, and just so precise. They're keeping these cars just perfectly on the lines. It's great to see. Absolutely fantastic to see these cars out on Mount Panorama. Of course, these GT3 cars are just something else across this mountain. You see of course the supercars, things like that. They're getting closer and closer to each other, but I'm always a big fan of the GT3 cars.
Yeah, they're very, very popular this year on iRacing. There's been a couple of new releases with the M4 and the Lamborghini, and they've really done a cracking job. Obviously, this series is controlled by the administrators in terms of parity, but just across the board, have done a great job in revitalising the GT3 love. It went all the way to GTE for quite some period of time, but yeah, they've done a good job in getting that back together. So we're now in the end, or at the end of qualifying. Let's bring up our grid for you tonight for the first race, that 20-minute sprint race. And this one brought to you by simrigs.com. If you're looking for some sim equipment, simrigs.com, jump on board and support the people that support the stream. And we will run through this grid now. So we've got Ross Rizzo taking out pole position with a cracking 2:03.52. Great lap there from you, Ross. Luke Turner in second. We've got Adam Funslow and Maverick Benson off row 2 with Andre Gartner and Jeff Connell off row 3. Mario Vartanian and Christopher Henn off row 4, followed by Matty Cardaleone and Joshua Fitt off row 5. We've got Paul Mansell and Jason Bentz off row 6 as we flip over on to the next page. Timothy Orty and Mike Casey off row 7. We've got Matty Dench, Richard Brookfield off row 8 with Luke Fitt and Aaron Oliver off row 9. Aaron DeLuca and Adam Wallen off row 10 with Daniel Webster and Sam Lehman off row 12. Off row 11 even, we've got Lockie Capel and Derek Orty off row 12 as we continue to go back through this big field. Corey Nolan, Patrick Panton off row 13, Joel Gray, we've got Phil Orty off row 14, followed by James Wilkins and Isaac Edwards off row 15. We've got Nathan Groden and Jeffrey Wang off row 16, Shannon Fever and Brady Buchanan off row 17, Tim Mitchell and Liam Caplice off row 18, and it is Andrew Lee who's going to bring up the rear of this enormous field at Mount Panorama for round 3 of the Aus Pro-Am Sim series.
It's great to see so many cars out there competing tonight. It's what we love to see in motorsport, a nice big field, and a field that is relatively close on times as well. Up at the front, there is not much between those front runners. The top four there really just separated by a couple of tenths of second. And as you go down the field, there's not much separating everybody, so it's going to be quite close out there. As you said, fuel, of course, is a big part of endurance racing and GT racing, of course. And these cars, they start on a slightly lighter fuel load, so they have to come in for a bit of a stop, of course. They should be fine for this race, but it's going to be interesting come the slightly longer race tonight. Fuel loads is one of those things that really you have to keep an eye on and make sure you get it right for the race. It's so easy to make a mistake and all of a sudden run out of fuel on that last lap.
Yeah, we do have the very short warm-up here. They probably will need a fuel stop here. The race administrators have made it such, so we'll see what happens in this.
And a really good start there for Luke Turner, just getting a bit of a jump here. He's going to be on the outside as they come into Hell Corner for the first time. That might favour Ross Rizzo, but it looks like Luke's managed to keep it on the outside, hanging around there and get a great exit there up onto Mountain Straight. He's going to get in front of Rizzo there, the fastest guy in qualifying. He's going to drop just behind, try and take advantage of that little bit of slipstream. A little bit further back, you've got Andrew Firethwaite, Maverick Benson, Jeff Connell, and Mario Bertani all fighting it out at the moment. Those guys are side by side as they come up to Griffiths Bend for the first time.
Absolutely great start there. It looks like everyone's got through a little touch on the wall there. In fact, just in the background there, I think that might have been Mario Vartanian who's just collected the wall on the run up to the cutting, but we'll see there. You can see a little bit of damage there. He's struggling big time with that BMW. It's heavily damaged, so he is going to need to bring that into the pits. I'm not sure whether or not he's going to be able to pull that up safely or not. Do have to apologise in advance. We've lost a little bit of the data here tonight so far. We'll try and get that fixed between races. But it is Mario Vartanian dropping back down through the field. He is going to need to jump into pit lane as we come across the top of the mountain for the first time. We're on board with Luke Turner here, and he has done a cracking job to get that BMW up into the lead of this race at this early juncture. It is Rizzo, followed by Funslow, Benson, Connell, Cuddleone. We've got Hen, Fit, Mansell and Brookfield rounding out our top 10 to start this one tonight.
Yeah, Mario Vartanian there, just very unlucky. A lot of damage on that front end of the car, and he's just hemorrhaging places at the moment. But great start there for Luke Turner. Just absolutely got that perfect, nailed it perfectly on the start there. Now it's all a matter of keeping it out there and keeping it in front.
Yeah, he's got 18 minutes to manage here. As I said, I do feel there probably will be a pit stop right towards the end of this one. That's what they've tried to engineer here with the series. So we'll see. Some drivers might try and manage their fuel load, but I'm not sure that they'll make it, particularly not if the competition stays this close throughout this next 17 or just under 18 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. From little working out that I've done just before the race started, I think they'll probably make it to around about half of the race distance before they need to come into the pit stops, just with that the initial fuel that they had set on the cars. So you might see them just coming in around about the sixth lap, maybe lap 7 in this race, just to a quick splash and dash just to get to the very end of this race. So it's all working out about that. You might see some people come in a little bit earlier, of course, just to get some free air. So that's the other thing you can do, is you can try and do the little bit of the undercut, just so you can get some free air from around the people, see if you can get some speed up, see if you can jump up a few places. So that can sometimes work out when you're a little bit further down the pack, if everybody else has to stop. There has to be some mighty fuel saving, I believe, to keep it out there tonight without coming into the pit lane.
Got a few drivers actually in pit lane as we speak, so potentially trying to roll that strategy on the first lap. So it's a good idea here to try and get the clean air, because particularly across the top of the mountain with the variation between the strengths and weaknesses of the car, the BMW will be holding some of those Ferrari and Mercedes-Benz drivers up, so they may want to get out to get that speed advantage across the top, because they're certainly going to lose out down at the straight, even with the advantage of the draft.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about that top section for those cars. That's where they're going to make the most time. You can just see Luke Turner just pulling out a huge lead at the front at the moment. I was just taking a quick look at that down the Conrod. He is just absolutely flying down there at the moment. Those BMWs are so much quicker. Good side-by-side action here as Luke Fit just gets passed by Adam Whalen there.
They come down into the chase, and he's got that move done very cleanly there, Adam Whalen, so he moves himself up into 11th position.
Really nice move there. Very brave to do on the little bit of the kink down the Conrod straight there. Side by side, it's never ideal, but they kept it going. Beautiful looking liveries on both those cars as well. The beautiful red of Luke Fit and Adam Whalen with that very dark burgundy-esque sort of very classic Ferrari colouring there. Awesome looking cars out there tonight.
As Maverick Benson starts to come under pressure here from Jeff Connell, looks like Jeff stuck down to the inside. He's going to try and get the move done. Up here is he, and he does get it through cleanly there as well. Great move from Jeff Connell. Has moved himself up to 4th position ahead of Maverick Benson. Maverick won't stand for that for too long. He will keep the pressure on in that Ferrari as they head up over the top of the mountain.
Yeah, really good move there. Looks like that Mercedes is doing quite well early on at the moment. Ferrari maybe just struggling a little bit at this early stage. I'm surprised to see the BMWs having such a good run in the very first couple of laps on those slightly cooler tyres. We were expecting a little bit more of a problem for those cars, but obviously very skilled drivers out there, and they can usually work around those problems. So great driving from those guys, because it is not easy taking these cars out first time. But you can see Jeff Connell there. He's got to now try and chase down Adam Fazlo in the BMW. So he's going to want to try and get as close as he can for the Conrod straight section and mountain straight, just so he can get a little bit underneath that wing, get a little bit of a drag along the straight to help him with his top speed. And he should be able to do that across the top of the mountain, but that's going to be where he's going to have to make that pace advantage and the grip advantage count.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to look at the lap differential there, and I've done a ripping job of just getting our logo right smack bang in the middle of where it shouldn't be. But we'll deal with that. It's just good. Hopefully everyone's looking at that section of the screen. I'm just going to try and work out which one it is to turn off. Anyway, we will continue to move along, but yeah, at the moment that gap between the two is, as you can see, almost non-existent.
Yeah, Ross Rizzo actually last time round just setting a blistering lap. 2:03.8. Luke Turner's last lap was 2:04. So Rizzo there, 0.2 faster in that lap. Fastest lap of the race as well. So it looks like Rizzo's managed to get that car switched on 4 laps in. As I said, it can take these BMWs a little bit of time to get those tyres up to temperature. As soon as they do, they start acting a lot better. Looks like Rizzo may have just struggled a little bit on the cooler tyres, but now they've started switching on. He is able to take advantage of it and is closing on Luke Turner for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. That gap has reduced significantly now, just to 0.3. Obviously, identical cars. He's going to get the benefit of the draft. He'll be probably trying to set up maybe a run down into the chase to make an attempt on Luke Turner, otherwise down into the last corner. But he'll have his work cut out for him. Obviously, with these two cars going to be pretty equal. So the Forest Elbow is going to really set this one up for us. And all that he's going to be able to do here down through the dipper. Just making his way down through the S's there, and we'll watch them coming out the other end of Forest Elbow here. So good turn in from both of them. They look like they've got both cars turn in and out very well there. So we've got the drag race now down Conrod Straight, and this is also playing Adam Funslow into things here. You can see him there closing the gap as well on Ross Rizzo. So we're getting set here. There is a pit stop to come for these drivers. We're getting set here for a really close finish.
Yeah, it's looking good for a spicy race right now. Those BMWs definitely got some speed. Ross Rizzo just very late on the brakes there, coming into the chase. Managed to get that car pulled up just in the nick of time, really doing the last of the late breakers thing, and that's what you need to do. Just behind him, Adam Funslow coming into pit lane, as well as Jeff Cornell and Maverick Benson. So those guys have pulled the cord early, rolled the dice a little bit earlier. Looks like Jeff Cornell just got a little bit of a clumsy entry into pit lane there and cost himself a little bit of time, so that may affect him on the exit. So that good work done out on track may be affected by this pit stop.
Absolutely, and thanks for joining the stream. Graham Aaron's just jumped into the pit lane. Maybe we will give you some coverage of him, as you say, up 6 positions before the pit stop there, and he's having a cracking drive as Turner here right under pressure from Ross Rizzo, just not quite able to get it done here. There's a play here. Does Turner jump into pit lane, and will Rizzo follow, or will Rizzo try and get him on the undercut by getting out into some clean air at the end of this lap? There's going to need to be a stop made. It's not a bad call for Rizzo to do that and try and make that undercut pay for him.
The big thing is going to be, of course, these cars are going to start being low on fuel, so you're going to get a good... If they've got enough fuel to get another lap out of it, running that last lap on low fuel is going to be the crucial thing, because you're going to be much faster for that lap. We saw last time around, Luke Turner was a 2.04 whereas Ross Rizzo was a 2.044. So a little bit of speed loss for Rizzo. So he might be good to come in, because he is losing time behind Turner at the moment. But it's going to be interesting to see how much those guys that pitted gain on these guys. Of course, they're going to have a heavier fuel load, so they might not get the jump on the undercut that you would expect. But having a bit of clean air is going to help them out for sure.
Well, so far it's Turner, Rizzo, Cardelloni and Lehman, the only drivers in the field that have not pit yet. They are our front four artificially. So what Adam Funslow is going to be looking to do is to try and get the job done here through the pit stop. His last lap was a 2:04.47, so he is matching the race pace of our leaders. Are we going to see them pit in here? Yes, we are indeed. So who is going to get the job done in pit lane? It comes all the way down to making sure that you've got everything set up and perfectly done so that you get out of this one in front. We're going to jump on board here with Adam Funslow instead as he makes his way down through the chase. This will be the changeover. Matty Carleone's also gone into pit lane right behind Rizzo, as has Sam Lehman. So the whole field will have made their way through pit lane as we get to the end of this lap.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they come out now. Just wanted to mention Luke Turner just had a beautiful entry onto pit road. Just got that car perfectly through the little kinks there. He's also got that nice little bit towards the end. Ross Rizzo gets out in front, though, so Ross Rizzo is going to get out in front. Will he be able to get out in front of Funslow? Looks like he is. So it looks like Ross Rizzo got the best stop out of all of them there. Brilliant stop for Ross Rizzo, getting out ahead of Funslow and Luke Turner.
Absolutely. Rizzo out in the clear here, and Funslow makes up a position through the pit lane transit. So Luke Turner's got some work to do. He's got Jeff Connell right behind him. We've got Maverick Benson, Matty Cartaleone, Christopher Henn, Paul Mansell, Josh Fitt, and Richard Brookfield rounding out our top 10 as we end the pits part of the pit start part. Well done. The pit stop section of the race. I'm losing my words here. 8 minutes to go, and it is a run to the end here. A 8-minute sprint race around the mountain.
Yeah, this will be a fun race to the end. Now, Ross Rizzo made a huge jump in that pit stop. He's got almost a 2-second lead now in front. You've got to wonder, though, did he take enough fuel? Because that was a very short pit stop for him. He might have just underfueled a little bit, hoping to be able to save fuel for the rest of this race. Question is, did he take enough fuel? That's going to be the big question towards the end of this race, and will he make it to the end? Of course, easy to do just to miss out on a litre, and that can be the difference between making it down Conrod with an engine running or drifting down there with nothing more than the wind in your ears.
It's an interesting point you make, actually, because his stop 1.4 seconds in terms of his stationary time, quicker than Adam Funslow and Luke Turner, who Funslow Turner had identical pit stop times at 10 seconds and 10.4, I should say, seconds. Maverick Benson also under the 10s, and a really short stop down the field for Nathan Groden, who did 7.8 seconds, and he did pit 1 lap earlier than our lead pack. So it's going to be interesting to see if he makes it to the end on anything other than fumes.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky with that. You can see Luke Turner getting chased down a little bit by Jeff Cornell there, and Maverick Benson as well doing a great job keeping to the back of that Mercedes, that AMG Mercedes there in the Ferrari. So we've got some good action up the front, but the BMWs seem to be the car of the moment. They definitely are the slightly faster cars in that straight line, but they do suffer across the top of the mountain, and that's going to be where Jeff Cornell and Maverick Benson are going to have to try and make the move happen. Just wanted to mention as well with Richard Brookfield, he did take a little bit of a tap up through the top of the mountain, up through McPhillamy. Sorry, Solomon Park. Just took a little bit of a tap on the front end, but has managed to keep that car going and not had too much issue from it. So he's doing a good job down there in 8th. I sort of caught that one as I was scrolling through the field. But yeah, the fight for the top end of the field is very juicy at the moment.
And just to add into that as well, a notable mention, Mario Vartanian. You mentioned at the start of the race that he had a couple of issues. Mario is very, very quick, and it sometimes catches him out on the early parts. I'm not saying that's what happened tonight, but you can see him here back in the mix, putting pressure on Sam Lehman. Now remember, race 2 is a reverse top 15, so really what we're looking at here in this battle for 12th through 15th is the front of the grid for the next race. Not to say any of the drivers are going to sandbag to make that happen, but Mario Vartanian moving his way back up into that fight for that top 15 placing after that early-ish incident and stop, and he's putting himself in a good position for race 2.
Yeah, Mario Vartanian did a fantastic job of recovering the car to pit lane. The car was crabbing a little bit, managed to get the repairs done, most importantly. Probably driving around a couple of issues as well, probably didn't stay in there for the full repair time. But having that clean air when he came back out has really paid off. So he's managed to work his way up the field there. So brilliant drive there, brilliant recovery from being right at the back of the field, basically, with damage to getting back up there. Definitely quick pace. We have got somebody in pit lane, I think.
I think it's Aaron DeLuca who may be in pit lane. Liam Caplice is making his way out of pit lane, and Paul Mansell, Joel Gray also there. They've been there for a little bit of time, though. The bonnet missing on the number 60, my apologies, Christopher Henn Ferrari that we're on board with at the moment. Of course, the number on the windscreen, Stu, is his place in the race, not his race number. So number 60, Christopher Henn there. Just missing the bonnet, but currently running in 17th position.
Well, I would say that that's a cooling advantage, of course, but the Ferrari has that engine in the wrong spot for the car. Oh, a big tank slap
right
behind
in front of us. Oh, my goodness.
Very, very close. And Jeffrey Wang getting caught up in that huge incident on his roof there. Unfortunately, couldn't do anything to avoid that. It's gone into the barrier, rolled it over, and that is the end of that car.
Yeah, wow, very, very disappointing there. He's just trying to get out of the way in the wrong spot at absolutely the wrong time and not able to do anything about it. We're going to jump back with Adam Funslow here and Luke Turner, Jeff Connell, as we've got less than a second covering positions 2 through 5 at the moment. So this is, as you said, where the battle lines are being drawn, and we'll stick with this as we've got a lap and a half or so to go.
Yeah, I told you it was going to get spicy up the front towards the end of this race, and definitely is, with that Mercedes just getting onto the back of the BMWs. Does lack the power. You can see as they go down Conrad, it just doesn't have the ponies underneath the bonnet to keep on the back of that BMW. But the Ferrari is right underneath the Mercedes at the moment. As they come into braking, though, those two cars, the AMG and the Ferrari, just close straight up onto the BMWs. They have got a lot more pace under braking and through the twisty bits, but they don't have the pace down the straight bits, unfortunately, and that's what's catching them out at the moment.
Yeah, as we've got 2:48 here, so we're probably going to get one more lap. So again, those drivers that did short fuel, including Adam Funslow, including Ross Rizzo, my apologies, could be in trouble, as it looks like Ross Rizzo will get around and get one extra lap into this race. So we've got to keep an eye on him and on Maverick Benson at the back of this pack to see if they're going to have to back off to make sure that they actually make it home in this race.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if Rizzo timed that right. If he got it perfect, then that was a brilliant call. But that extra little bit of time out there might just cost him. And that will be heartbreaking because, yeah, fantastic job getting that car up there on pole position, of course. Great laps out of him. Some very fast laps as well. It's just whether he can get that fuel saving done. Of course, you can do a little bit to keep the car with a little bit more fuel in there, a little bit of the old clutching and just short shifting up the gearbox and keeping a higher gear as you go through the corners, just using less revs. Just watching on board myself with Rizzo, and yeah, he's not pushing that car too hard. He's very much falling off the pace a little bit. So it looks like he's doing a bit of fuel saving there, but that's going to be the question of the race, is how much fuel saving is needed for him.
Yeah, and at the moment with these four, Funzo, Turner, Connell and Benson fighting, they're going to be holding one another up as well. So he has the gap. He is going to get through for one more lap, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Luke Turner now getting a good run on Adam Funslow as they come into the kink on Conrad. He's going to get the brakes down into the chase. Brilliant late braking there. Got up underneath Funslow. Great job for Luke Turner to get through, and that's given Jeff Cornell and Maverick Benson the opportunity. Going to see Jeff Cornell try his luck. He's going to try the up and under here, just try to brake a little bit later to get a better run out the corner. Doesn't quite make it work. Maverick behind him has got a good run, flashing the lights to try and distract the driver in front to almost say, I want to get past, I've got the speed. But Adam Funslow just positioning that car perfectly to keep them behind him.
Great driving from Funslow and Turner there. Plenty of respect given. A good move through the chase. And that has moved him up to move Turner up into second. But I don't think that it's all done so far. So we've still got 3/4 of a lap to go here. Jeff Connell is going to want to try and make a move on Adam Funslow. He may well try and repeat the same move, of course, though. That BMW much straighter, much faster in a straight line than the Mercedes-Benz. It's just a tap on the wall there. Just heard that on the way through from Funslow, just as he went up through the cutting. So he's feeling the pressure here. A small mistake, and that might open the window for Connell as we get through this last lap. Yeah,
Rizzo got a great lead at the moment of 3.5 seconds, so it should be all hunky-dory for that car. Just absolutely just not putting any pressure on the engine as he comes down the mountain now. Very much drifting that car home, as sounds like he is fuel saving a fair bit at the moment. But Luke Turner behind him is going to be kicking himself, wanting to catch up to that car, but doing a great job of getting back up into second place. Brilliant move there.
And I can tell you, Maverick Benson is all over the back of Jeff Connell, so far be it from Jeff putting pressure to move up a spot. He is now defending as they do the run down Conrod Straight. We're going to go too wide into the chase. A great camera angle here for us as well as they go wide down there. Jeff Connell defending very heavily indeed and managing to close the door on the Ferrari. He's got the undercut going. Has Maverick Benson. Is he going to get this one done as Ross Rizzo crosses the start-finish line to take the win here? Jeff Connell defending. We're just going to stick with this one. Let's see what Maverick Benson can do. He's going to try the crisscross. He's not going to be able to get it done, and Jeff Connell's going to defend his way into 4th position. Great driving from our top 5 right throughout this race. Well done to everyone.
Yeah, brilliant positioning there. Jeff Connell just kept that car on the outside crucially, so he had the inside for the chase. Good little battle back. Luke Fitt getting past. Oh, Luke Fitt missing the corner, going into the back of Sam Lemlin. Very, very awkward move there, and that's given Daniel Webster the opportunity to jump up a couple of positions there, up into P13. Luke Fitt getting caught out with that one, losing that front end. Disaster there for the end. He took a very late dive coming into Murray's corner and didn't quite make it stick.
Yeah, unfortunately, just missing that there. Sorry about that. We will fix that up for the next race. Just looking at the race winners and stuff, but missing out on these closing battles further down the field. So just keep an eye on these guys as they do finish the race. There will be a small 5-minute interval between the 2 races. So we'll have a look at the finishing results. I'm actually going to reset things here a little bit just to see if we can get the replays working for the feature race. So the overlay will disappear for a minute or 2, but it will pop back up, so don't fear. It's nothing wrong with your stream. It is us deliberately trying to get that to work.
And just speaking of fuel, Nathan Groden running out of fuel there, going down the back straight, managed to just get across the line. So almost disaster there for him. A few of these cars just taking a little bit low on fuel, but they've just managed to get across it the right time. Tim Mitchell, I think. Nope, sorry, that was the wrong car. Tim Mitchell just crossing the line, and that was Brandy Buchanan, I think. They're just losing the car, going into the chase there, just losing the rear end going into the chase, getting a little bit too much curb on the exit and spinning it around on that last little rotation, but now managing to get across the line. So never fun to lose the car when you're finishing the race. Always an annoying thing to have happen, but manages to get across the line in the end.
So we'll just bring up the results from Heat 1 here, just to have a look at how that all transpired. Get them up onto the screen when they want to play. Okay, so we're just waiting for the overlay to reload here, and while we do that, you may have noticed at the top of our screen here, we do have a banner up for John and Wayne mentioning the Cancer Council as well. So unfortunately there, on behalf of the entire Aus Pro-Am Sim series family, just giving a shout out to the Panton family and just expressing our sorrow and sympathy for them for their loss, Wayne and John succumbing to their battle with cancer. And just a shout out to the Cancer Council, and if you are able to make a donation to the ongoing research they do to beat the horrible disease of cancer. We all know somebody who has been affected by it in our lives. Please reach out and make a donation where you can. And once again, our condolences and sympathies go to the Panton family in this difficult time for them, we're sure. So we're just waiting for the overlay to reload now. I had a couple of audio issues there, so we fixed those gremlins. It's just so that we can get some replays going tonight, because it's been a little sparse, to be fair, because there haven't been any for us to bring you, because it's not recording them. Not sure what's going on there, but nonetheless, let's see if we can bring this grid up now, as I think things have reloaded. No, it's still just not wanting to play, which is really annoying.
Good old technical gremlins.
There we
they
go.
Are always fun to plague us. There we go.
It's finally decided that it wants to get on board. So these are the results from Heat 1. It is Ross Rizzo and Luke Turner who battled it out through a majority of the race, but did end up bringing home Ross Rizzo with a strong gap there after the pit stop, conserving fuel right at the end to make that across the line. Luke Turner in second, Adam Funslow in third, Jeff Connell fighting against a really fast finishing Maverick Benson in fifth. We've got Matty Cartaleone, Josh Fitt, Richard Brookfield, and Aaron Oliver jumping up into the top 10 as well, finishing ninth there. So a good solid race for him, followed by Mario Vartanian with a great recovery from a lap 1 incident, and Daniel Webster, Sam Lehman, Adam Wallen, I'm assuming, and we've got Lockie Capel and Luke Fitt rounding out our top 15. So reverse grid means that it is going to be Luke Fitt and Lockie Capel who will be on the front row as we head into race 2 in a few minutes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see between Luke Fitt. They had a bit of a bad finish to that race, just as he got caught out in that final corner there, but it's kind of paid off to get him on the front row for this race now. So be an interesting reverse round, of course, because we're going to have a Ferrari starting up front this time round. That's going to change things up a little bit for these cars, make it a little bit different up the front as well. So always interesting to see how things work out with reverse grids like that.
Yeah, well, last week we had it was really strong. So looking forward to a good race this time, because the gap between the top 15 drivers is so small that any one of them with a clean run could probably take out pole position. So we're going to see that here tonight and see what we can come up with. So we're just gridding up now, waiting for everyone to jump in to the race. And unfortunately, replay's still not working, so apologies for that. We're not going to be able to bring any of those to you this evening, but we'll do our best to keep you up to date if anything does happen in the background as we just wait for everyone to jump onto the grid. Just waiting for a few drivers to get in here, and once they arrive, we will set off on what is a very short warm-up stretch for these drivers. So they will be going into this one cold tyres indeed, so watch out for Hell Corner, turn 1, turn 4, up through the cutting, and certainly on the corner, the elbow on the way down the mountain. Look out for those sections as we get underway here. Sam Lehman in third position on 93 PC. Of course, I do need to do a call out to our sponsors very quickly. Simrigs.com. Thank you for jumping on board with this one. Bridgestone Select, Cranbourne, Fountain Gate, Roeville, AJ Insurance Services, our streaming partner. 93 PC, Ferguson Group Media, and of course iracing for letting us do all of what we do. As I run out of breath getting that amount out before we get underway here, Carl, I might let you take us away for race 2.
As Luke Fitt comes around Murray's corner and onto the start-finish straight. He's got a bit of a gap between himself and the back just a little bit of a jump there. There's a big gaggle of cars behind him. Luke Fit getting a good jump away at the moment. Great start for one of the BMWs there, just trying to pick out who that was. Oh, around goes Mario. Sorry, not Mario. Round goes one of the Ferraris, that dark red Ferrari. Big disaster there. Sorry, just trying to get names. Sorry, I'm new to the series, so sorry about that. Just got sent around there, unfortunately. Adam Miller. So, unfortunate there. Luke Fit getting a good start there, but Sam Lehman and Daniel Webster also getting up there very well. But Mario Vitani getting a great start there, up into third place at the moment. Going to see him absolutely coming alive now, right behind Luke Fit now, so he's up into second. He's going to try and chase down that Ferrari, and this is where you're going to see that speed advantage when they come down to Conrad for the first time. That Ferrari's going to pull out a bit of a gap. Luke has to really push this car across the top of the mountain. Not easy to do on cold tyres, especially as you come down into Skyline right now for the first time. Got to be really careful not to lose the car. Through the S's, through the dipper, now down towards Forest Elbow for the first time. He's going to have to really rely on good exit here and hope he gets great traction off the corner. Otherwise, you're going to see that BMW of Mario Vatan getting a good run here. You're going to see the speed advantage of that BMW for the first time. The 77 is catching on the 151 here of Luke Fit. You can see that BMW just coming down. It's almost like a lion chasing down a sheep at the moment. Can't quite make it stick into the kink, but will he make a late braking move into the chase? He does. Will he hold it? He's going to hold it for a moment. Luke Fit's going to have the inside as they go through, but this is going to give Vitani the chance to get round Murray's corner. He's going to have the inside line. Luke Fit's got to try and get the undercut here, just up and under. Can't quite make it stick. That BMW power launching Vitani into the lead after lap 1 of this race.
And there was a little bit of action back in the pack there. We've got a number of drivers who've jumped into pit lane. Sam Lehman getting rotated out of the chase. So he went around in the middle of the pack. It looks like everyone got around him relatively cleanly. But Mario Vartanian, what a start. Up 5 places, up into the lead of this race in that BMW, and a good move again down into the chase. But we see Luke Fit here not willing necessarily to take it lying down. He's going to try and go around the outside, Craig Lowndes style, up as he's not quite able to get away from him there. A little bit of contact between the two cars, but nothing damage as we get up into the cutting here. And Vartanian tries to duck back down the inside. He's not going to get it done. Luke Fit, my apologies, still in the lead here. Matty Cartaleone up into third. He'll be pressuring in that big black BMW. He's running with Luke Capel in this battle, and it is Richard Brookfield as well joining in. So plenty of action up the front here, and we've got 36 minutes to go. My goodness, what a start.
Brilliant move there from Luke Fit, just muscling his way up through the cutting into Quarry Corner there. That's what he needed to do if that BMW had the chance to run away with it. Oh, as behind, that was Lachlan Capelli just getting it all wrong as they went into Skyline there, taking a big hit on the right side, just going a bit loose at the back, taking a big hit into the wall, and that's going to be a lot of damage on that car. Meanwhile, up the front, you can see Luke Fit now has Vitani right behind him, pressuring him, flashing the lights, trying to get him distracted, as GT drivers like to do with those lights. He's going to try for the inside line here. We've seen that hasn't worked quite well so far, but the extra power of that BMW is going to help him out here. Luke Fit's going to have the inside as they come into the chase right now. He's going to hold it there, gets a good job, can't quite make it work as Vartani once again gets into the lead. Luke Fit has to keep right to the back of Vartani here to keep in with a chance of this race.
An unbelievable balance between these two cars. Administrators, great job again tonight. Look at the difference. The BMW stronger in the straight line, able to get the job done on the Ferrari, but the Ferrari quicker here out of turn 1, and the climb up the straight, the BMW not quite able to stretch its legs far enough, and Luke Fit will be trying to make another move around the outside. You'd expect at turn 2. once that Ferrari uses the benefit of the draft to get right up behind Vartanian here. You can see that gap closing on the camera angle here. He's getting right up behind him into the braking zone, just not quite able to close the gap as he did in the lap prior, so he will be chasing him across the top of the mountain. Great respect shown by the two drivers. Really, really good in terms of making sure there's enough room to let them try and make the passes stick. And wow, what a great start to this race we've had.
Yeah, brilliant opening there, but Luke Fitt's going to start struggling now as he's got Matty Cartleone just behind him in that BMW as well. So those BMWs again having a good run here. Luke Fitt is almost a bit of a, in a BMW sandwich at the moment. BMW sub-sandwich, you could say. But Mario Vartan, he's going to have those tyres up to temperature, and I think that was Luke Fitt's chance when those tyres were not quite up to temperature on that sort of first, second lap stage coming up through the cutting, through Griffiths Bend. That car was just a little bit slower. Now it's got those tyres working for it. That rear end's going to stick planted quite a lot better through those corners. Sorry, I can't speak English at the moment. So he should be able to just keep Luke Fitt behind him. Now Fitt's going to have to worry about Cartleone behind him, who's going to start applying pressure as he starts to gain on these straights.
So just jump back to a battle here between Phil Audie and Paul Mansell. They're too wide going across the top of the mountain through Reed Park. Unbelievable driving from both of them. No damage at all, and the pass being executed by Paul Mansell across the top of the mountain. Great driving.
Yeah, we've got a few battles going on across the pack at the moment. Just trying to keep eyes on people is always the hard part with road racing.
Just jump back in here to Liam Caplice. Sorry to cut you off there. So that we could just have a quick look at this one. Looked like he was going to get the job done down into the final corner, but not quite able to. This is a battle between Ferrari and Mercedes, Dench versus Caplice, and it's been nice and close so far with just half a second between them now.
That's it. Quite a few people have jumped into pit lane already. With this race, we're expecting them to need to make 2 stops tonight, unless they can do a super save. So a lot of people just coming in early, taking the fuel and taking that hit early on, and then they'll come in for a splash and dash a little bit later on. So it's going to be a bit of a difference in the pit strategies, of course. One to watch out for, I think, a little bit later on the race is Jeff Cornell. He did come in quite early, and we've seen he's got some good pace in that black AMG Mercedes. So I almost said BMW there. I don't know. That would have been a terrible mistake. The black Mercedes there. But he's got open, clean air at the moment. He's got Luke Turner behind him. So, again, we're going to get a repeat of that battle a little bit later on. Adam Fernslow as well, also there. But a bit of a gap between those 3 drivers. Meanwhile, up the front, it's only around about a second between Vartani and Fitt. Fitt is doing a great job at the moment. Luke Fitt, that is. Great job of keeping that Ferrari up there in that P2 spot, managing to fend off that horde of BMWs behind him.
Absolutely. So Luke Fitt there, just about to come under pressure again. We keep saying it from Cartleone, but just not quite able to close up the gap. So we'll keep an eye on it here. Ross Rizzo, in the meantime, has done the fastest lap of the race. Race 1 winner, 2:04.15. So he is flying there. He is about 4 seconds back from this lead pack, and he's got a little bit of clean air in front of him. And just what you touched on just before is Vartanian and Luke Fitt jump into pit lane. Matty Cartleone will go into the lead of this one. Ross Rizzo's decided to stay out. So some varying strategies here, but Ross Rizzo has benefited from the clean air. It would not surprise me at all if when he does jump into pit lane, if he jumps up a couple of places as a consequence.
Yeah, we saw as well in that first race, Ross Rizzo doing a great job with the fuel strategy, just that perfect pit stop as well. So managing to keep a little bit more fuel in the car, managing to just get that pit stop right. Wouldn't be surprised to see Rizzo jumping up with this one, but the question is going to be, where is Vartani going to come out now? Is he going to come out with clean air? Is he going to come out behind a fair few cars? That's going to be the interesting one. He's just leaving pit lane right now. A couple of cars coming down the straight now, coming into Hell Corner for the first time, but he has got relatively clean air in front of him. But I think Luke Fitt may have just come out behind another car there. So Luke Fitt just not being as lucky.
just getting out behind Adam Funslow. So Funslow in good pace in race 1, as well as Luke Turner, 2:03.87. He is applying the screws to this race. And again, the benefit of that clean air is well and truly showing through.
Yeah, that's it. Setting some great pace up there at the front of the pack. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Of course, they're going to have to make another stop here. Those guys that came in earlier are going to have to take a bit more fuel on board as well. So their stop's going to take a little bit longer than the guys that leave it out here a little bit later in this race. The longer you keep it out here, the less fuel you need to take on board, of course. So that makes a big difference in that respect.
So the gap now 3 seconds back to Ross Rizzo. And then a huge gap back to Jeff Wang in 3rd position. He is up 26, but of course still has to pit, as does Sam Lehman, who was involved in that early spin coming out of the chase. He's just made his way past Jeff Wang, in fact, and Tim Mitchell as the only 5 drivers not to pit. As we say that, Carter Leone jumps into pit lane, as does Ross Rizzo. So don't be too surprised to see these 3 drivers filing behind him as well.
Yeah, I'd expect to see everybody coming in. I don't think they're going to be able to make it on fuel otherwise. But of course, in motorsport, you're often proven wrong. That's usually a case. But yeah, Jeffrey Wang coming in as well.
So this
Sam
puts...
Lehman. Sorry, Sam Lehman as well coming in.
So this puts Jeff Connell, who you mentioned did pit on lap 1. He's going to make his way right up to the top of the order now, and as is Luke Turner. And that just shows you, getting out of the traffic early, he's going to open up a huge gap here. He's already on his way up Mountain Straight, and Mario Vartanian has just gone past, but Matty Cartaglione has just left the pit lane.
Yeah, that's it. It was a good strategy to come in early for Connell. He's got some pace in that Merc. It seems to be going quite well for him, but he has got Turner right behind him, putting the pressure on. And you're going to see again down the straights, Connell just struggling a little bit to keep that Mercedes behind him. As long as he can get a good gap across the mountaintop, he should be relatively okay. But those cars are doing some good lap times out there. Last lap for Connell was a 2:04.915. For Luke Turner, it was a 2:04.6. So Turner has definitely got some more speed.
Yeah, so we can just see on the graphic that we just put up on the screen there in terms of the lap difference between the two. Important to recognise here, these cars running on a lighter fuel load, so they will need to pit early and take on more fuel than those that have pit 4 or 5 laps later. And in addition to that, of course, the tyres on these ones are a little warmer, but the gap back to Mario Vartanian is 5 seconds. So they'll have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, some people might play a bit of a different strategy. They may have taken a little bit less fuel in that first stop with those early stoppers, may have just slightly short-fueled the car a little bit and may stop a little bit earlier than some of the others to, again, try and get some clean air. So you might see some people, again, just rolling the dice a little bit in that respect, or coming in a little bit earlier than expected just to top up the tank to try and get that cleaner air in for the car as well. If Luke Turner can't get past Connell there, he may come into pit lane and try and do it with using that slightly cleaner air advantage. But of course, he has to make it to a point in this race where he can make it home, and that's the big part of this race now. As we still have 26 minutes remaining in this race. We've completed 7 laps right now, so there's still a long way to go tonight, and there's still going to be a lot of action coming up.
Yeah, about 13 laps to go based on that estimate. So most of the drivers pitting on lap 5. Now, they do start with less fuel than the full tank capacity, around about half capacity. So they will have fueled them right up, and they'll need to take another equivalent short stop at the other end. Of course, Connell opting for a different strategy. You can see there on the graphic that we brought up on the screen, he pitted on lap 1. He's done 5 laps since then, and he will definitely have to make another stop to fuel it right up to the top. So that'll mean that he will be slower potentially carrying extra fuel at the tail end of this race. So he'll be trying to run as far as he can in front now, just to maximise that undercut that he's done. But of course, he's still in clean air. The rest of the pack battling away in their groups.
Yeah, I'd probably say Connell will come in around about lap 15, 16, around about that sort of area. So it will be quite late in the race. You might see a couple of those drivers on those later stops try and eke out to make it to the end on fuel, just try and roll the dice a little bit. But I don't think anyone will make it to the end on fuel without coming in at least for a quick splash, at least a couple of litres added. So I think everybody's going to have to stop again. But of course, you can be surprised in motorsport. Anything can happen, and it usually does.
And this is what we were talking about as well, just in terms of clean air running. So Luke Fitt, Adam Funslow, Luke Fitt, Richard Brookfield, Ross Rizzo, even Aaron Oliver, Christopher Henn, just in this train here that you can see there as we get out to the blimp. That will be impacting on their lap times. In fact, at the moment, over a second a lap slower than Jeff Connell, our race leader. So he continues to open up the gap to this pack. It's now 10 seconds, and that will be very welcome as we get towards the end of this race, with Connell wanting that buffer to make sure that he can get back out in the lead after his next stop.
Yeah, Connell really playing a blinder with that pit stop, that early stop. Same with Luke Turner, in fact, as well. Luke Turner's got the fastest lap so far as well, so he's got some pace in that car. But having that cleaner air and just having that lighter fuel load as well is giving them the chance to run away from the guys behind them. They're almost about 8/10 faster than Mario Vittani at the moment. So the fact they've got a little bit less fuel on board is giving them the opportunity to make up ground over the guys behind them to set out that lead. There's around about almost 6 second gap now on my, where am I? About 6 seconds, between Vittani and Luke Turner and Jeff Connell. So they are edging out a bit of a lead at the moment, and that's what they're going to want to do. But of course, they will have to stop before those other guys, and they will have to take a slightly longer stop. So it's all about getting the right strategy now. Who's made the right call? That's going to come to fall a little bit later in this race for sure.
So just to reset things a little bit here, we'll jump back into our leader and we'll show you that we do have Jeff Connell currently leading. He's still under pressure here from Luke Turner, but just managing it at the moment, slightly under half a second as they go down into the chase.
Might just get you to jump back to Luke Fitt. Richard Brookfield now side by side with him as they come down into the chase right here. Richard Brookfield just trying his best to get that power down on the BMW. But again, Luke Fitt just positioning that car perfectly and just making it work round the corners. As you see just behind him, a car coming into pit lane, but goes a little bit wide that time. That's going to give Brookfield the chance to get a run down pit straight here. He's going to have the inside corner for Hell's Corner, and that's going to give him a good opportunity. Good bit of driving there side by side. We're going to have a drag race up the hill now, and that's going to give Ross Rizzo the chance to get closer as well. He's going to get a good draft here, but he has two cars in front of him, and up mountain straight, two GT3 cars. You cannot get another third car through there. So they are side by side as they come up to Griffiths Bend now. Luke Fitt's going to have that inside, and he's going to have a much better advantage. This could be the chance for Rizzo to get past Brookfield. He's going to have the outside here as they come up to the cutting. Can't quite make it work this time around, but great battling there for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Basically in formation prior to the race there with the drivers 2x2. And really, really good driving, but good space given as well as there has been right throughout the night, and respect paid between the drivers. It's great to see good close racing without it ending someone's night. And I'll tell you what, Fitt's got an absolute command of that Ferrari. He knows exactly where he can put it and exactly how late he can brake or turn in, and it's allowing him to take the fight to the BMWs. So great driving, Luke Fitt. So far for me, driver of the night.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to say the Ferrari doesn't look to have the quite the same pace as the BMWs out there. Same for the Mercedes. In fact, Mercedes might just have a little bit of an advantage, but the Ferrari seems to be almost a little bit at that disadvantage at the moment. But Luke Fitt is ignoring all of that and absolutely driving the tyres off that car. Brilliant drive for him up in P6 at the moment.
So we'll just get back into that there and give us the run through the field. So it is Jeff Connell and Luke Turner still at the front here. That margin just staying steady there at around about half a second. And I don't know that that'll worry Luke Turner too much at this point in time. He's just nicely within touching distance. He'll probably be saving a little bit of fuel, and that will mean that potentially he can run a shorter stop as we get into that pit window very shortly. Then it's followed by Mario Vartanian, the fast-starting Mario Vartanian, had a great start here in this race to battle for the lead prior to the undercut working for Connell and Turner. Matty Cardaleone in 4th, followed by Adam Funslow in 5th, up 8 positions. Luke Fitt in 6th. He was our pole position sitter for this race, doing a cracking job in that Ferrari, as we've just said. Richard Brookfield in 7th. We've then got Ross Rizzo in 8th, with Aaron Oliver in 9th, and Mike Casey up 15 spots, and he is currently running in position 10.
Car to watch out for as well. It's on a bit of a charge at the moment, just down the field a little bit. Christopher Henn, doing some good lap times out there, has made his second stop as well. Is currently setting pace around about 204.5, which is just a little bit off the leaders, but has come in crucially for that second pit stop. So that could be a car to watch out for a little bit later in the race. Has got some nice clean air in front of him as well. So definitely one to keep an eye on for those top positions as the race starts to unfold.
Yeah, and he's lapping quicker as well than Sam Lehman right behind him, so he's going to open up a little bit more of a gap there. I'm just looking through the field here to have a look. Derek Orty and Paul Mansell are fighting over position 19 and 20 in the Simrigs.com sponsored Mercedes-Benz. So there is a battle going on there. Liam Caplice jumping onto the back end of that one as well. And then we skip back a little bit further. We've got Brady Buchanan, Joshua Fitt, and Joel Gray in a little bit of a battle here as well. This is for positions 24 through 26. And as I said, the challenge is going on right down through the pack here for this enormous grid. Richard Brookfield again, just jump back here, just jumping into pit lane, and he's going to get his second stop done. So first of our top 10 runners to jump in, and in fact he's followed by Aaron Oliver and Mike Casey, so pit stop starting to happen for our lead pack.
Yeah, just Christopher Henn was actually running up with this pack before he pitted a few laps ago. So Christopher Henn, as I said, one to watch out for. Ball taking that second stop. He pitted a little bit earlier than some of those other guys. So expect to see him coming out when these guys come out. So it could be an interesting stop. Actually, Christopher Henn's going to jump these guys. They're still in pit lane at the moment. He's coming down in the front straight at the moment, coming into Hell's Corner. So good job for Christopher Henn running out there in that clean air. He's just behind Richard Brookfield at the moment. But good job getting up behind Brookfield there, because there was a few cars behind him as they came into the pit lane. So that's going to be interesting to see how that one unfolds as when Luke Fitt comes in as well, because that's, I think, is going to be the car that is going to be the crucial one for those guys. If they can jump Luke Fitt in those pit stops, they'll be able to make some pace on him, because Luke Fitt, you've got to say, doing a great job holding that car there, but the cars behind him looked to be a little bit faster. Luke Fitt just keeping the car in the right position, just keeping behind him.
Yeah, there's about a 2-second lap differential between our top 5 and that sort of 6 through 10. Just wondering when we're going to see Connell and Turner. As you just see Turner there just grabbing that gap and pulling Connell in, but Connell's going to defend here down into the chase. These guys pitted on at lap 1. We've now got people doing their second round of pit stops on lap 10. So it can't be far away before they jump into pit lane, Connell and Turner. Expect to see that probably in another lap or 2, I suspect.
Yeah, that's it. I think we'll be looking around 2 to 4 laps before they come in. But of course, the advantage of that clean air is actually Mario Vartani has come into pit lane. So up in 3rd place, he's come into pit lane right now. So chasing a little bit of a different stop. He stopped a little bit later than the rest. Sorry, a little bit earlier than Jeff Connell and Luke Turner. So he's come in now to get the fuel on board. He'll have some fuel in the car as well, so it won't be as long to fill up that car. He just has to top it up for the remainder of the race, just get that right amount of fuel load in. Of course, as these guys stay out, the longer they stay out, the less fuel they're going to need. We still have 15 minutes of this race remaining, so still a while to go yet. But these guys are doing a great job out in front. They are absolutely blistering pace at the moment still down in the low 2-minute 4s. So great jump up front. Jeff Connell is doing a fantastic job in the lead of this race, and showing that Mercedes still has a very, very good bite to it up on the mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just brought the graphic up again there on the screen. You can see the differences in pit stop strategy there. You know, the blue is the second stint after running out on the open tank. So 1 lap in for Connell, Turner and Funslow, and they've done a whopping 10 laps so far in this stint. So as we said, suspect to see them in the next lap or two. They've got a good 7.5 second gap back to Matty Cartaleone. So really the question is, how much fuel is he going to have to take on? Given he's only done a 6-lap stint, he may be trying to manage that car to the end of the race. Matty, known for his attempts to manage fuel and one-stop these races, and has pulled it off in the past. So we might jump on board with him as Connell does jump into pit lane here. Turner deciding to stay out for one more lap. He's going to try and do the undercut. We'll keep an eye on his lap pace as he gets around here. So he will have been able to save a little bit more fuel running behind Turner and running behind Connell. And we'll keep an eye on his lap pace to see where he comes out in comparison to Jeff Connell at the end of his stop.
And Funslow coming in as well this time around. Luke Fitz still staying out there with Ross Rizzo. Ross Rizzo getting a good run as they go through Murray's Corner. He's going to try and get a run up Mountain Straight once more. Will he be able to make it work? That BMW we know is mighty in a straight line, but does suffer up through the twisty bits. But we've seen some really interesting strategy calls out there at the moment. Luke Turner's going to have to put in a fantastic lap here as well. Really going to push and try and do his best to try and jump Jeff Connell there, because you've got to say, again, looked like Turner had that little bit more speed overall in the lap, but because Connell was so good across the top of the mountain, Turner couldn't quite get past him. So he's going to have to try and make it work in a pit stop.
And I've just jumped back here onto Jeff Connell because, interestingly enough, he has come out behind Mario Vartanian, who has done his second stop as well just last lap. So this is a battle now. Vartanian up into the battle for the lead of this race in that BMW, and Luke Turner is going to be mighty close to coming out just in front of Vartanian. So this is going to be interesting out of Turner's pit stop.
Yeah, Turner's really got to turn the wick up and get every bit out of that BMW now, and really show what pace he's got out there. We've seen he's got good pace, in fact, with qualifying results, things like that. But Luke Turner's got to get the pit stop working right, hit the marks as he comes in, and make every second count in pit lane. Is he going to come in this time round? Has he got fuel to make it round one more time? No, he's coming in this time round. So Luke Turner into pit lane. As Phil Orty's gone around at the top of the mountain. Phil Orty, big crash up the top of the mountain. Just going to see if I can actually work out what happened there.
We did miss that one while you were looking, so I'll just keep an eye on this. Matty Cartaleone stays out. He did pit on lap 5, so Matty Cartaleone currently into the lead of this one.
Good job there. And looks like Phil Orty's gone around and caught Liam Capaldi up at the top of the mountain. Looks like they were just going through Salmon Park, I think. So big crash up the top of the mountain. Both those cars are going to be in for a dragged back to the pit lane because they won't be doing much out there now.
And a huge gap on the out for Luke Turner out of pit lane. He is a whopping 5 seconds in front of Mario Vartanian and Jeff Connell. So a little less fuel, obviously, to take on board there. But my goodness me, what a gap he has managed to pull out of that pit stop. Of course, when Connell did go into pit lane, half a second gap between the two drivers, and now that's blown right out to just over 5.5 seconds.
Yeah, brilliant job there. That's really nice work up there. And as we said, you know, stuck behind the, well, not stuck behind, but sitting behind the Mercedes just really was costing them quite a lot of time. They just couldn't get the full pace out the car with that clean air. They just could absolutely start punching those laps out, punching the speed out, and jump up ahead of Connell, who did a fantastic job of getting that car up to the lead of this race early on and holding on to that lead as well, you got to say. But it is definitely looking like a race where BMW have the pace advantage through those long straights here at Mount Panorama.
And we just jumped on board here with Matty Cartaglione, and he is 100% trying to make it a one-stop race for himself. So he pitted on lap 5. You'll be able to hear him here. We'll go quiet and you'll be able to hear him fuel safe. So just off the throttle early into the corner there, and upshifting a little early as well. You're not seeing the lights on the dash there hit the red, and that is him fuel saving. So he has got about 9.5 minutes to go to save fuel, and really here it's about making sure that you don't get caught out with that one extra lap at the end of the race. He's in control of the field. He's got 10 seconds over Luke Fitt, who does need to make a second stop. Luke Turner effectively running in second place here, unless the other drivers between Cartaglione and Turner are also trying to save and run a single stop strategy.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle a little bit. As I say, maths-wise, from what I could work out, they could possibly make it around about 12 to 13 laps on a stint. At the moment, Cartaglione has done just 9.5 laps on this stint, whereas Luke Fitt has done 10.5 laps. Of course, that Ferrari uses a little bit less fuel than the BMW, but there are, of course, balance of performance matters in those areas to sort of try and even it up a little bit between those cars. Ross Rizzo is really closing in on Luke Fitt at the moment. Rizzo as well, one of those cars that stayed out there a bit longer, so those two still battling away. Rizzo has a little bit more fuel on board, a little bit shorter stint as well. He pitted 1 lap earlier than Luke Fitt as well.
Once again, I've got to hand it to the series organisers. They've got this one perfectly right in terms of the mixtures between the cars. The very fact that we're talking about pit strategy and the potential for people to run a single stop here, but it's that close that 1 lap might make all of the difference. The balance between the Ferrari's Luke Fitt up into second place in that Ferrari, having started on the front row of the grid, equally has driven extraordinarily well. But we've got, right now, it is BMW, Ferrari, BMW as our top 3 cars in the field.
Yeah, it's great to see, and it's the thing we do love about GT racing. It is the biggest mainstay of endurance and GT racing is the fuel saving. Meanwhile, a little bit further back for 5th and 6th, you got Jeff Connell really starting to pressure Mario Vartani in the 77. Connell right on the back of him and getting a good run up mountain straight at the moment. He's going to try up into Griffin's Bend, I imagine. He's going to try and get underneath Vartani. He's not going to make that move easy for him. He sticks to that inside line. Connell's going out on the outside. He's going to try and make it stick. We're going to probably see Vartani get a little bit wide on the exit. Manages to hold it. Connell's going to have to sit behind that BMW for another lap unless he can do something across the mountain, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, that big bustling BMW will make it difficult across the top of the mountain here. We'll stick on board on the nose of Jeff Connell just to see him close up across the top here as we head out down towards the grate. Get the BMW, good view of the BMW as it moves out to the wall there across the grate. And we get across Brock Skyline here, and you can see the BMW, they're just struggling a little bit in the positioning on the way back down the mountain, just grabbing the brake a little bit through the dipper. And Connell there in control, but just not able to do much here. He wants to try and set up as best as he can here down through Forest Elbow. He's going to get the car turned in, run right out to the wall and get back on the gas, but that BMW just stomps away Jim Richard-esque in the 80s in that 7 Series and just stomps its way back down the mountain.
Yeah, BMWs are known for their immense speed, and they are really showing it here tonight. Former BMW owner, I can say they are very fun to drive in a straight line, especially when they've got a honking great V8 in the front of them.
As Luke Fitt jumps into pit lane here, so he's decided not to push the envelope. Ross Rizzo and Matty Cartaglione, the only two drivers who have not taken their second stop. So Luke Fitt is only going to need a splash and dash, but he is going to lose that place to Luke Turner. Looks like Mario Vartanian and Jeff Connell will make their way past as well, so Fitt will probably resume in around about 6th position.
Yeah, he's going to lose a few spots from this, unfortunately. It would be a hard call to make it, I think, for the rest of the race. I was looking at a couple of the other Ferraris, and they had to come in a little bit on that sort of 11th lap. As Fitt almost loses it on the exit of pit road there, manages to keep the car, but does make a bit of a mess of the cone situation, getting very tail happy on the exit there. Easy to do, of course, as well in these cars. They can get a little bit tail happy, but Luke Fitt has come out in 9th place, just behind Christopher Henn, that driver I said to keep an eye out for in the other in the other Ferrari. Christopher Henn doing a good job up there, managing to get up to P8 now. Sorry, P9 now.
Graham,
sorry, P8. Sorry.
You're right, Graham. Just asking there in the stream if the timing's right. I believe it is. Graham, just looking at the listing there, looks like everything is in order.
One thing to remember is, of course, Cartaglione and Rizzo have not stopped yet, so they've only done one stop. That's why they have such a big advantage over the rest of the field. Cartaglione does have a big gap over Ross Rizzo, who was a bit further behind when they came to the pit stops as well. So there is a bit of a gap between those cars, but it is questionable whether they're going to make it, as Cartaglione does come into pit lane, gets a little bit loose on the entry, but does manage to get it in there. Will Rizzo make it through? That's going to be the question. Will Rizzo take it through now? He does stay out, so Ross Rizzo is going for another lap. We still have 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining of this race, so 2 more laps by the look of things. But that is going to be it's going to be tricky to keep it out there. If he can make it on fuel, Ross Rizzo has played an absolute blinder. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, Jeffrey Wang has lost it up through the cutting, and somebody's collected him. I'm trying to pick out who that was. I think it was the 115. They're catching him, of Isaac Edwards. So Isaac Edwards collecting that car, unfortunately. A lot of damage to the front of Edwards' car.
And Rizzo here, rolling the dice but playing the strategy really, really well here. He is tourist-like around the mountain at the moment, and he is very much deliberately doing that. What it will mean is this will be the penultimate lap of this motor race. A time certain race, 2 minutes 47 to go as we speak. He will get around and have to complete one more lap. So he's rolling the dice on the fact that he's got enough juice in the tank to get that BMW around the track one more time. Matty Cartaglione's popped out in 3rd place with Luke Turner currently in 2nd. But you can hear he is very, very much a tourist around Mount Panorama on this lap.
Now, Luke Turner will be able to push that car. He's got fuel in there to push it, same as Cartaglione. There's only a 5-second gap between Turner and Rizzo. Rizzo has basically got to do a great escape sort of move, just having fuel in his trouser leg, shaking it into the car almost, to get it to the end here, I think, because on my numbers, I don't think he has enough fuel. I think he's going to run out of fuel on this last lap, but it's going to be close. This will be the last lap, of course. There's only 2 minutes remaining in this race, but he's got to go round as slow as possible, but as quick as possible. As much as an oxymoron that is, something you have to do in GT racing. But he is really slow coming into the chase right now. Very much waiting to get on the power. Luke Turner has taken a good second and a half out of him that last lap. He's still got a 3-second lead, but this is going to be a nail-biting finish. If Rizzo can make it to the end, and make it with keeping his foot down as much as possible, he'll be okay. Of course, a lot of the lot of the end of the race here is downhill, so it's not too bad, but it's this first stint that's going to really hurt him on that fuel, because if he's running low on fuel climbing that mountain, it's going to be so hard for him. You can see Luke Turner is really getting close behind him now. The headlights are starting to really shine bright behind Rizzo. Turner is catching at a pretty vast rate of knots. Last lap was a 2:07 for Rizzo, 2:04 for Luke Turner.
We're just trying to listen there to hear if the car starts to cough or not, but no signs of it so far. He's going to have to get on it, though, because Luke Turner is coming. Gap now under 3 seconds. It is the last lap of the race. He needs to make it across to the top of the mountain, and then, as you say, it's coasting down the hill from there. He's still got a good just under 3 second gap. What Luke Turner will be aiming to do is to try his best to get into the draft, because then it will be up to Rizzo to put his foot down Conrod Straight. You can see the gap there. It's closing as they start to make the run down the mountain. Turner will be able to go for it here. Rizzo will be coasting a little bit, really looking to get down there. It's 2.5 seconds now. He's just looks like he's going to run out of time as they get down towards Forest Elbow. The gap approaches 2 seconds between these two cars. And it's really for the run down here, whether or not Luke can use that fuel that he's got to get the job done and close the gap up. I think he's going to run out of racetrack at this point in time. That gap hasn't really changed that much. Looks like Rizzo saved enough fuel to get the run down Conrod. Tell you what, one more lap. Well managed, great awareness from Rizzo driving this race, because one more lap and he would have been done for. But it looks like he's going to pull off the one-stop strategy here at Mount Panorama and take out what will be the double. He's going to get the win for the 20 and the win for the 40-minute race. A great drive from you, Ross Rizzo, to take out race number 2 of round 3 here at Mount Panorama for the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series. Luke Turner very well driven into second spot, up 12 places, and Matty Carleone going to bring it home in third. We've got Jeff Connell and Mario Van. So it is Adam Funslow who's going to be bringing home 6th position. We've got Richard Brookfield in 7th, Christopher Henn in 8th, Luke Fitt in 9th, and Aaron Oliver rounding out our top 10 here tonight in this race.
And Ross Rizzo is trying to get the car back to the front of the track. He's currently sluggishly climbing up the hill. I think he's pretty much run out of fuel now as he gets up to the cutting. That car is lurching to a stop, so he had enough fuel to get to the cutting. So that shows how much fuel was left in that car as it slowly starts rolling backwards, out of fuel, engine is dead. But Ross Rizzo just showing he had enough fuel just to make it to the end there. Brilliant driving there. What a fantastic fuel-saving strategy as well, to go for the one stop. The only other driver out there, I believe, that did a one stop was Isaac Edwards. So only 2 cars managing it for a single stop on the race. But brilliant job for Ross Rizzo to keep that speed in the car as well. That is a remarkable finish and a great double victory.
Yes, absolutely. A very, very good run here in the Aus Pro-Am Sim Series. Thanks to simrigs.com and Bridgestone Select, Cranbourne, Fountain Gate, and Rover, along with 93PC and AJ Insurance Services, our partner. We're just going to bring in the drivers into the combox here. We've got Luke Turner, Matty Carleone with us so far. And welcome into the booth, guys. Great run tonight. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, guys, got you, Stu.
Beautiful, yep, excellent, good stuff. Just waiting for Ross to come in as well. But Luke, we'll start with you. A cracking run tonight in that main race there. We've got you up 12 positions into second place. Very, very fast closing on Rizzo there, who ran the gauntlet with the fuel strategy, but a solid second place for you tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Stu. It was actually good good fun night of racing. I'd like someone to check Ross's car to see if he's running diesel, because man, he did a good job. Well done, Ross. Well done, Kato. Mate, yeah, it was a good fun race. Always enjoy Bathurst. The guys in this league are super clean, so yeah, it was really good.
And yeah, you're spot on there. Like, one of the big features of tonight was how much door-to-door racing there was, and how little paint was traded between drivers. We had, two wide going up the mountain, down into Forest Elbow. We had some really great passing down through the chase, and testament once again to how well everyone drove.
Yeah, absolutely. Wrapped. Everyone shows a lot of respect. With Funzo, I had a really good battle with him. I was sitting on Jeff's bumper for ages. Yeah, Wrapped. It's good league.
And Rizzo, we'll jump over to you in that diesel-powered BMW, mate, where we weren't sure that you were going to make it, but you did get back up to the cutting before running out of fuel finally. But a really good night for you with the double win.
There is nothing more stressful and anxiety-inducing than a heavy fuel saver like that. I was sweating bullets, and yeah, the lifting. You saw how extreme the lifts and coasts were, but I mean, I crunched the numbers, and there wasn't much in it. And literally, the deciding factor was how much traffic was in front of me. So I just went, look, I'm going to have to burn lap time anyway, so let's swap that lap time for some fuel and try and make it work. And boy, Luke got close. Luke got really close, but felt I had enough time in hand to save the little bit that I needed to make sure I wasn't going to splutter over the line, because that uphill run could have been a complete deal breaker.
Yeah, absolutely, and great awareness from you as well, just to manage the race the way that you did, to ensure that it gave you the best opportunity of carrying that strategy across the line.
Yeah, as I said, I crunched the numbers. It was my preferred strategy, and you had to commit to it from the moment you left the pit lane. The difference between the two strategies, as I said, was traffic, and it looks like Luke got a really good run of traffic to be able to just smash in some lap times. And look, and the drivers here are very, very aware. I assume there would have been others trying the same strategy, or at least trying to figure out why I was losing speed and things like that, and try and make smart decisions about whether or not to pass me or race me and things like that. I think one of the intense moments was having to sit behind Richard Brookfield and Luke Fitt as they started to battle. And actually, I've got to give Luke Fitt a huge rap, because his pace was so good that I was able to use him as kind of like a draft buddy, and I needed that. I think that might have made the difference in the end, actually, now that I think about it. Because I was able to get that free lap time down the straights and then lift and coast, and he was so quick across the top that it made it possible like that. So yeah,
absolutely. And Carl and I were remarking that actually driver of the night for us, Luke Fitt, just battling so well in that Ferrari, and you could see that it struggled down the straights for a bit of pace, but he did the old Craig Lowndes round the outside at turn 2 to take the lead back from Mario Vartanian, and a fantastic move and a really strong drive from him tonight, so I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, he deserves it. He drove well, and I actually tried to hold the also, speaking of outside moves at the cutting, Maverick Benson did it to me at the start. I thought I had him beat, but no, kept it in there, stuck the Ferrari in, and pulled it off. And I was like, oh, damn it, I'm going to have to live that one down.
Yeah, well, it's certainly one of those ones that you hope doesn't happen to you, but it was good to see a couple of times some really clean driving again right throughout the field. But to take nothing away from you, mate, up obviously 15 positions in that race as well to take out the double W, and very well driven from you in both races.
Much, boys.
Matty, over to you, mate. Tried once again, I think, to get there on fuel, and just deciding you weren't just going to quite make it.
Oh man, I need some tips from Ross. I think I got to maybe 8 or 9 laps to go. I was behind Mario, and I was rolling off massively through the chase, up into T2, even down the mountain, into the elbow. But I just kept watching the fuel number go up, and I don't know if it was because, when you're behind and you're following your car, you just got the bit between your teeth and you just want to chase them down. Because I thought I was being sensible and rolling off enough, but I got to a point where I was like, yeah, there's not a chance I can save this fuel here. And it sort of was a click moment. It clicked. I quickly checked the gap behind and went, all right, there's pretty much zero gap now from lane and fuel stop, from lane transit and fuel stop. So I put in, I think, maybe 1.5 laps of flat strap just to, oh no, maybe I extended half a second over Jeff. I don't know, because I had lower fuel, and then yeah, just rev bouncing it in the lane, and then tried to ease the clutch nice with limit the wheel spin so I didn't lose any time, and managed to just jump out of the lane with about I'm not sure what the gap was actually, maybe 1.7 seconds, and then I thought I had it, and then I had a huge moment into the cutting and thought it was all over, and yep, I still managed to pull it together and come home and third. I'm super stoked. I said that was probably the hardest I've ever fought for a third position in my entire life. That was just 40 minutes of max concentration, and I think that fuel I saved in the first and second stint, even though it didn't get me to the end, was what I needed, because had I not saved that, unless I had the superior pace of Jeff and Mario, which I don't really think I did, I was probably on pace with them both. That is what got me P3 in the end, because I only had a very, very short stop. I think it was nothing. It was 5 liters I took. I only needed 4.3, so it was basically just stop the car and then go off again. And yeah, that was awesome. Credit to these guys, how hard we can actually race each other and not end up in a fence or off in the grass in the weeds somewhere doing some lawn mowing. So really stoked get to share the track with these guys each week at the moment, and it's shaping up to be a really, really awesome championship. So yeah, hopefully some all good results, and yeah, just want to thank all the series sponsors, Bridgestone Select, Cranbourne, HJ Plant Repairs, 93PC, Sim Rigs, running one of their rigs at the moment, and it is just incredible. So I reckon that's made a massive difference too. And also to the Panton brothers for their loss, John and Wayne. We're thinking of those boys in this time. So if anyone's got a couple of dollars they can rub together, and it's in your means, maybe chuck a couple of dollars to the Cancer Council so we can do our best with cancer research, and hopefully experiences like this don't need to happen. Thanks, Stu, and the other commentator, who I'm not sure his name.
Good, Carl. Carl joining us today.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Stu and Carl, for the evening. Can't wait to have a watch back, and yeah, really appreciate your time. And yeah, Rizzo and Luke, really appreciate the race, guys, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
That leads us into, we'll do it in reverse because Matty's got to start off there. Luke, just jump back in, mate, with a thanks to the people that help support you.
I just thank all the guys who put this on. So Bridgestone Select, HJ Plant Repairs, Simrigs, 93PC, obviously the committee, FGM ECast, and most importantly to Ross and Cardo, like cracking race this week. I really enjoyed it. Ross, I'm going to go back and watch the replay to figure out how you saved that much fuel, man. You you did well.
We have to watch that from on board. There's plenty of coverage right throughout the field as well. And Rizzo, over to you, mate.
Thanks for the plug there, Luke. And I also got to watch race 1 back. I mean, that was an insane battle in race 1. Loved every moment of that. And I'm going to assume you coughed in pit lane, which is cost you, mate, was it?
Yes, it absolutely was. And I knew you knew I was fuel saving, but I coughed. Yep.
Hard luck, mate, but well done. So again, to the series sponsors, I don't know them off by heart, so forgive me.
That's all right. We'll give you a help out. It's simrigs.com, Bridgestone Select. We've got 93PC and HJ Plant Repairs as well.
So much to you boys for broadcasting and putting on this awesome series. And I'll second Cardo's comments. It's really shaping up to be a special season, and I look forward to this every week. So thanks very much, guys.
Absolutely, and I love having you here. And as usual, Carl, thank you for jumping into the stream tonight and helping Scotty have a break. Carl hopefully will be a little more of a regular feature on this as well with Scotty, as we're sort of trying to broaden our commentary team and do a few bits and pieces. But Carl, I'll probably steal your thunder a little bit there. earlier, we normally do a driver of the night or highlight of the night at the end of it. So for you, what did you think?
Well, I've got to go with Jeff Connell. Brilliant drive in the Mercedes, and getting out in front that early pit stop really helps him out. Finishing P4 in the end for the feature race. Was up there or thereabouts all night long. Just missed off on the podium, of course, for the overall results, but a brilliant result in the end for him. And some great driving as well, just throughout the field, really. Christopher Henn as well, just coming in for that pit stop when he did, managing to get up into P8. Just beating out Luke Fit after that late pit stop. But yeah, great results for those two drivers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mario Vartanian also gets a mention. He had a ripping start in race 2 and had a really, really good battle with Luke Fit early on in that one. So make sure when you jump back in and watch the stream, you have a look out for that one. Race 1 was a cracker. Look, once again, third week in a row of absolute cracking racing on the Aus Pro-Am Sim series. So very excited for where the series is heading, and good to hear that echoed by the drivers as well, because a lot of hours go into organising this, more than people probably think. It's not a matter of just turning the PlayStation on and jumping in for a race with your mates. There's plenty of stuff that goes on in the background here. So to the series organisers, well done on getting it right yet again tonight. I know Sam and Cardo put in a lot of time getting the race setups done for this and making sure that parity is good, and they've done a smashing job tonight. So well done to you fellas as well.
Thanks, Stu, and thanks, Carl, and thanks, FGM Ecast. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Cheers.
Next week, we are heading to Laguna Seca. I thought tonight was going to be manic. It wasn't. I thought Hockenheim was probably going to produce that result. It didn't. Laguna Seca, we've got the hill to contend with, but it's going to be a big race. That is the first of our enduro races. It's a 70-minute run, full course Laguna Seca, and that is on the 6th of April. So next Tuesday evening here on FGM Ecast. And I'm really looking forward to that one, Laguna Seca. Another track that we don't get to broadcast from often enough, and keen to see what this series brings. So that is in another week's time here on FGM Ecast. Once again, Carl, thank you very much for jumping in to the stream tonight. It's been a pleasure commentating with you. We aren't on Thursday night. AUSPROAM Truck Series taking a break for a week like they do in real life, of course, as that series follows the real racing calendar. A break for Easter there. And we will be back next Monday night with the AUSPROAM Truck Series that is doing something a little bit different. We are at I was about to say Road America. We are not. We are at Circuit of the Americas for the circuit round, and that is going to be one heck of a race. 24 laps, I believe, around that circuit next Monday evening. So until then, thank you very much for joining us on FGM Ecast, your e-place for pace. To our sponsors, simrigs.com, be select. We've got HJ Plant Repairs 93PC, and to our streaming partners, AJ Insurance Services and Ferguson Group Media. Thank you for your support, and it is a goodbye for now. We will see you next week. Have a happy Easter, and be safe and spend some time with your families.